Alright, this is the first game of the draft day. We already picked all the cards, you can see that in the previous video. And now we're using our decks to see who drafted the best cards. So we have the Mask versus the Shadow, the Mega Corp. Yeah, the past is the future, says the Shadow. There's a lot of interpretation of that today. Alright, so got some cards. It looks like I have a few agendas there. So I have, I think, my Beal, I have a private security force, and then a false lead, and then a hedge fund, and I couldn't tell what that ice was. And look at that, we got some memory, a magnum opus. A magnum opus is a Crypsis, and look like a scrubber. Okay, that's a pretty good starting runner hand. And I draw another agenda, so I have 4 out of my 6 cards are agendas. Get some money. I was really happy to get those hedge funds. I have 3 of them in the deck. And gotta defend up HQ. So I have a free click there. I almost installed that over R&D on accident. So I drew a card just because maybe I'd get a different piece I said want to install instead. One comes at the top, and that's a Neural Katana. So I'm sure he's glad to know that there's a Neural Katana coming up. This is first click. Uses the 1,000 credit tokens as his clicks. I think to try and get into your head. Plays out a magnum opus, and then he spends his last 2 clicks to get money. I really hate seeing that this early.
I have no need for memory.
First click, I'm going to draw 3 cards.
That's all the econ he needs.
Who draws ice?
Alright, so I draw some ice, draw a pad campaign. That was the first click. Really need more ice. I need to defend my centrals, and I need to start getting so I think that was the Neural Katana.
Third click there. Oh, I do have to discard.
That must have been end the run. That was I'm not sure what that was. Maybe a wall of static.
Right.
And I decided to ditch the pad campaign because I have a little bit of ice and I have all my agendas, so I just can't. So he sees the precog, runs an R&D. He's probably not too worried about that.
Click for 6.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll take
So he's
that
just
card.
building up a huge amount of econ, much faster than I'm able to.
I will advance 3 times.
Oh no.
It's not horrible.
He didn't want to run right there because he didn't want to risk his magnum opus, and if he
Well, points is
took
high.
Crypsis, then
There.
if he installed Crypsis on his turn, I'm not sure if he had enough clicks and money to actually get through whatever it was. There's a roto turret.
Wow.
He's not going to be too worried about that once he puts his Crypsis down. That'll get through that real cheap. So I'm 1/3 of the way to victory. In this format, you only need to score 6 points.
Play this card.
Uh-oh.
Now he has Crypsis and Magnum Opus. I really don't like this.
Push construction.
This is,
This is Netrunner distilled down. Just the essence of what you need to do when running. You need money to fund ice breaking, and that's what you have right there. So he knows Swordsman isn't in, and this is only Genesis and Core, so there's no such thing as Swordsman. He doesn't need to worry about anything like that. You know, that's going to cost him a lot of clicks to fuel that right there, but the rest of his game state here could just be optimizing his play.
third click.
And draw another agenda, so I have a handful of agendas. So I found as I was playing
Yes.
Yeah.
playing during this this event that I needed to try and play a lot faster than I was used to playing. I needed to take a lot more risks, and yeah, it was tricky because you only had 30 cards, or as a corp I think I had 34.
Like, there's no clues by the fact that you played Beal.
Right.
He was commenting how the neutral IDs we have in this format, usually when you're playing a game of Constructed, you have some clues based on what ID you're playing. You know you're playing HB, so you're like, okay, I'm going to run early so I could click through some nasty ice. But in this format, you have no clues whatsoever. So he puts down the Scrubber. That I saw that in a couple different decks this day, and that seemed like a really good pick because there's a lot of asset econ in the starter. There's the pad campaigns in the starters, and you just can't depend on having like a fully operational based econ. So, all right, he gets in. He could trash it with the scrubber, so he does.
Okay.
Which is probably the right move. He has Magnum Opus. He's gonna trash it eventually because he has scrubber, so might as well do it then.
You could have killed me.
Coulda.
Could have did it.
Alright, I'll take the mandatory draw.
Alright, got a wall of static. That helps a little bit. It's a cheap to res ice, and it's still costly for Crypsis to get through with his
0 credit. Damn it.
virus click and so on. That's the game I'm playing at this point, is I'm trying to figure out how to make my servers expensive. So I could put down something like the false lead in that remote, let him come in and steal it, and then be ready to take advantage of the next turn where he's going to have to build up econ again and get in the servers. But in order to do that, I'm first going to need some econ myself. So I'm going to need to compete against Magnum Opus,
I'm going to take 3 money.
which, as this turn indicates, I'm not doing too well. Just take 3 money. There's a handful of gens. I gotta get rid of one of these ice. And yeah, I make the right decision. So the rotor turret is not too good in this scenario. 4 to res. Only costs 2 for Crypsis to get through. First wall static costs 3? Is it 2 strength for wall static? No, wall static's 3 strength. So yeah, it costs 4 for Crypsis to get through wall static with the virus token. Alright, pulled another agenda. Got the Eli too. Eli is perfect. Eli is just the type of ice I want to see. I still don't have the money to afford anything at this point. I really need more econ. So he has a data leak reversal in his hand and a parasite. The data leak was interesting. He was talking. Oh, see, I'm not trying to spoil the game. It's an interesting pick.
Holy shit. What is this garbage?
All right, so my turn was to take 2 and install ice. So again, I'm trying to plan ahead. I'm trying to just build a remote that I could put down a 1-point agenda,
Right.
let him take it with his econ, and then score out something the next turn. And I think this is a good plan in this scenario, but things have to line up. I need to have enough money to res all that ice myself and to score agendas out, and I need him to not have a huge amount of money by the time we get to this point when I'm going to make the play. So I'm just trying to figure out how to make that work. So he draws up his first click. It's really felt like playing core style Netrunner. So Parasite and Katana. It's a good move. That's 4 credits for him to get through with Crypsis and a virus token. So that's kind of like 6 credits. So he wants to get rid of that. That makes sense. Yeah, it felt a lot like playing core in this format. I think that was more my deck than anything else.
And then take 2 money.
All right, so here's where I'm like I was trying to make this work. So I think I just put what did I put down there? PSF. Sorry, this was a mistake play. I was trying to bait him in so he could steal that agenda,
Not 20.
so I could
Good Magnum Opus.
Yeah.
then score an agenda next turn. But I just don't have nearly enough money to make that happen. So I was half thinking right here, but at the same time I felt like I needed to make something happen. So this just wasn't the right thing.
Okay, no res.
Don't have a lot of money. The whole plan depends on me resing some ice here. Yeah, and this is the problem. I can't, so I'm resing. And this is where
We'll continue.
Chum is not that good of a play. Not that good of a... With Crypsis, Chum is just going to cost Crypsis 2 more. So he's never going to pay the 5 that it would cost to break Chum with Crypsis. He's just going to let it add 2 strength to the next ice down. And he knows he could break the next ice down. So Chum is not doing a whole lot. And it makes it slightly more expensive for Crypsis, which, I mean, that's a good trade. I'm paying 1, he's paying 2. But, see, I can't even afford to res that. So he gets false lead.
Damn it, false lead.
Yeah, I couldn't even really afford to
Like,
res that bottom ice underneath Chum. So that whole play didn't make a lot of sense. I thought that was a PSF or something. So the fact that it was a false lead, I might have been able to score it next turn, which would have been worth it. So he gets a Darwin going too. He's full of AI breakers.
Hold on a second. 1, 2, 3,
oh, you're right.
4.
So he's out of memory with the
It's 1, 2, 3,
Parasite.
4.
Yeah.
So you can't install the Darwin.
In that case, last click, I will take the 2 monies.
Okay.
Not 20. They're pretty good.
But he has the memory chip in hand. I'm surprised he didn't just install the memory chip so I could get Darwin going sooner next time. Alright, draw another agenda. I do have a lot of agendas in the deck, though. I don't have any of the priority Rex, which you get by default. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with this situation. Again, the problem, I think the strategy I have is a fine strategy. I just need the money to fund it, and I don't have the money. So at this point, I probably should just be drawing for money. Same time, I have the 3 sure gambles, but outside of that, I just have some assets. I have an Eve campaign, an Adonis campaign, and I think the 2 pad campaigns. 2 of the pad campaigns are already trashed, though, so I only have the Eve and the Adonis. The Adonis I'm going to need to defend because he'd be really motivated to get in there and kill it. And even the Eve he's going to kill because he has the Scrubber. So the Scrubber makes my asset econ not too great. And unfortunately that's most of my econ. So yeah, the rig he has right now is just totally tearing me apart. He has just a counter to any sort of strategy I would possibly have. So I paid a res to Eli. I need my money, but Eli definitely costs him to get through. So if he wants to get in, he's going to have to pay a lot to get through Eli. He would likely take an agenda, because my hand is full of agendas, but he decides to let it bounce. So that worked out for me. Alright, so he puts down the toolbox.
He's wacky in here.
Go ahead.
Okay.
And he could afford to do this, because I'm not putting pressure on him. He could just sit there and optimize his board state until, you know, he's pretty confident my hand's full of agendas and just go in and start picking them off. Toolbox that also kind of shuts off any link-based, any tracing ice, which I don't have. So that part of the toolbox is not working against me, at least. But it gives them the memory for the Darwin.
Okay, so I'm going to install here.
You're going to blow this up, I assume.
So I overwrite the Nero Katana. Who's going to get destroyed next turn anyway. Got to defend up R&D. Can't let him get free access to R&D. I need it to cost him some money at the very least.
Okay. Not going to res.
Okay, take a look-see.
He sees the Eve campaign. I think the right move for him is to trash it. Yeah, he does. He trashes the Eve. So I only have 1 econ card left in the deck. Then I'm just clicking for money. So that's the situation I'm in. No, I do have actually 2 more hedge funds that haven't come up yet. So
Okay, no res.
that's 8 credits in the deck still.
Okay, that's interesting.
So he says interesting. He's seen quite a few cards off R&D. Haven't seen any agendas. So he's got to figure at this point I have some agendas in HQ. And luckily that Eli is helping out. Eli is so great just because it's super expensive for Crypsis to get through. And even when he gets Darwin up to strength, that's 4 credits on Darwin initially just to get him up to strength over 4 turns. And then another 4 credits to break him each time he goes through Eli. So Eli is... If you see Eli when you're drafting, I can't imagine a reason why you shouldn't just take it.
All this high-cost dice, pretty good. I see your plan. It's interesting.
I don't know if I have a plan yet. You may...
I saw your drafting plan.
I'm just going to get...
He says he sees my drafting plan. I'm not sure if I really had a solid drafting plan, though. Alright, so he starts getting Darwin going.
Another one. Gain 2. Oh wait, loading Darwin for 1 is not.
cost click.
Gain 2 more. Run there.
Decide if I want to res that ice. I'm trying to remember what that is. I think
This
it's...
is your chance to face roll. Super hard.
Wish I could see.
Okay, I'm not going to res.
I think it's just something that Yeah, so I was really hoping to get the aggressive secretary. I think I was conscious about it. I was like, that's that card will help me a lot if I could draw that, and if I could kill his man, if I could have killed Darwin and Crypsis at this point in the game,
Okay, I am going.
I think it would have just been game over. I think I would have been able to win this a lot easier.
I'll live Darwin.
So here is this play I kept talking about, where I put something down there. He doesn't know what it is, but he's got to assume it's agenda.
I'll get him too.
He goes in and gets it, but he spends his whole econ to get in,
Look like
and then I score out an agenda on the next turn.
no res.
So he gets a Nisei there.
Eventually,
So he's at 3 points,
I'll run again. There.
no res.
and I decide not to res again.
Nope.
He just sees the wall static. So if this is a 3 advancement cost agenda, I could score it here. He decided to let it go.
Mandatory draw.
He might have seen what I was trying to do. I'm not immediately scoring it out, so it's probably not a 3 advancement agenda.
Okay, I will advance 3 times.
Oh, no, it is. This is the posted bounty.
Post
I have a tag.
So he asks if I want to
Unless you want to give
use the posted bounty to give him a tag, and I say no. But he wants me to do that, because little do I know,
Hold on.
he has the data leak in his hand. So he would love me to ditch an agenda to get a tag right now, so he could just mill me 4 times. But in practice, he could just get into R&D for free anyway. Darwin's almost up to Eli strength, so that does cost him 4 to get through, which is a lot, but it's a lot cheaper than Crypsis. Too cheaper in a virus counter. So again, I'm deciding if I want to res. It's a tie game, but I definitely feel like he has the advantage. So I let him in.
Holy shit. Okay.
Wall of Thorns. And if I had an econ, those big ice would be a lot of fun in this scenario.
Which one do I have? That cancels that. So I have one left.
A lot of thinking going on here. He's deciding if he wants to throw in another memory chip. I'm not sure what program he has.
Third click.
Yeah, so he puts a memory chip down.
Okay. I'll take the mandatory draw.
So I do have a path of victory here, because I could score that breaking news out of hand. And then as long as I have, what is it, 7 money, I could biotic and score out the accelerated beta test out of hand when I draw that.
Take 2 money.
So in order to do that, I got to keep him off R&D, so I could draw that accelerated beta test, and I need some more money. But there's not that many cards left in R&D, so I can make this work. That's, I think, my only real path to victory at this point. Unless I draw those hedge funds real soon, then I can start resing some serious ice.
Okay. No res.
Decide not to res. I'm just... Okay, he gets the breaking news. He gets up to 4. I'm not too worried about that. And he gets accelerated beta test. So this was the game right here. He just won. But we didn't quite realize, because we're so used to scoring out 7. So he won with that accelerated beta test, and in addition, he prevented me from winning by taking that accelerated beta test.
Right.
That's a thing. Do not want. How about that?
And he's just ignoring my remote. As long as he's not pressured by it, he's just ignoring it. As long as I'm not putting him at match point, he just doesn't care. It's like, you do what you want with that remote.
Click.
What the hell? What is this? Fast advance?
So I biotic labor for my first click.
Just and then advance 4 times.
And then, so that gives me 4 clicks, and I advance 4 times to score out an Nisei. So at this point, I mean, this is where I'm counting my agendas, and that's when I realized that he had already won.
Oh, that's right.
But hypothetically,
For some reason,
if he didn't win on that previous turn, on my next turn I could have won.
so that would have
That would have stopped him there, and then I would have also had the Nisei token, and I would have scored out the breaking news. So I could have won if he totally didn't score that accelerated beta test before.
Oh, Ouroboros.
Both of my hedge funds are at the bottom, and the Adonis. Adonis campaign didn't matter unless you have Scrubber, but
Yeah, only a lot of econ there at the bottom,
makes a lot of sense.
which I think hurt me.
Great card.
So he had some Force of Natures in there, and there's his data leak.
Wait, where's the data leak tag
This is my
coming
hand.
from?
So I'm asking him where he's going to get the data leak tag from. I think he had a stim hack.
I have 2 vamps.
Oh, he has 2 vamps, he was saying. So he's going to get the vamp was going to give him a tag, and then he was going to data leak with that. So he had some strategies with his deck,
It's just like ice and a little bit.
whereas mine was more just about some money and some ice. And,
I didn't.
you know, I had a little bit of program trashing. I had the rototurret was hopeful.
Yeah, but this.
Yeah, that Chimera never
Well, the idea
made sense to res with that Crypsis out.
2 tokens. I could potentially. Well,
So that was ultimately a garbage server.
yeah.
But those were the decks. I think he did a pretty good job drafting his deck. And I haven't done the runner drafting yet, but I'm looking forward to runner drafting. So I can include cards like Data Leak in the deck.
But yeah, that was. It was.
Well, that's the first game. There's going to be 3 more posted. So look on the channel for those. And thanks for watching.